You've seen them at highway rest stops. Hundreds of massive trucks. Engines idling. Lights off. Parked in long silent rows at 2 in the morning. And you've probably never stopped to wonder, why don't they just get a hotel room? They're on the road for weeks. They're hauling millions of dollars worth of cargo. Hotels exist on every highway exit. So why do truck drivers sleep in their trucks? The answer isn't preference. It isn't poverty. It's a system. Built by government law, freight economics, and cargo security, that makes the truck the only logical place to sleep. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at a highway rest stop the same way again. Here's the claim that's going to stick with you. Every long-haul truck driver in the United States is legally monitored, every single hour of every single day, by a government-mandated electronic device that tracks exactly when they drive, when they rest, and when their clock runs out. That device is called an electronic logging device, an ELD. And it is the reason millions of truck drivers sleep exactly where they stop, because the law doesn't give them the flexibility to go anywhere else. Your overnight deliveries, your packages, your groceries, your furniture, run on a system of legal clocks, mandatory rest windows, and parking economics that most people have never heard of. To understand why truckers sleep in their cabs, you have to understand the hours of service law. In the United States, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, the FMCSA, regulates how long a commercial truck driver can operate a vehicle. The rules are precise and non-negotiable. A driver can operate a maximum of 11 hours after 10 consecutive hours off duty. Once those 11 hours are used, the truck stops. The driver cannot legally move that vehicle until the rest period is completed. Before 2017, drivers kept paper logbooks to track their hours. And paper logbooks could be falsified. Drivers pushed past legal limits. Fatigue-related crashes killed people. So the government mandated ELDs, electronic logging devices, hardwired into the truck's engine. Impossible to fake. The moment the engine runs, the clock starts. The moment the legal driving window closes, it's over. That legal clock is the reason truckers sleep where they stop. The clock rules everything. Imagine you're a truck driver. You've been on the road since 6 a.m. It's now 4 p.m., and you're 200 miles from your delivery point. Your 11-hour driving window closes at 5 p.m. You cannot make it to the destination in time. You have two options. Find a truck stop and park. Or pull into a rest area and stop right there. A hotel is not a realistic option. Because checking into a hotel means leaving your truck, your trailer, and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cargo unattended in a parking lot. And it means your restart clock begins the moment you stop, whether you're in a hotel bed or your sleeper cab. The sleeper cab exists precisely for this moment. It is a bedroom on wheels, designed, engineered, and legally recognized as a valid rest location under federal hours of service regulations. Home on 18 wheels. Modern sleeper cabs are not uncomfortable. High-end sleeper cabs include a full-size mattress, climate control, refrigerator, microwave, television, storage compartments, and inverter power outlets. Some luxury models have bunk beds for team drivers. This isn't roughing it. This is a purpose-built living space engineered around the reality of long-haul trucking life. And staying in the cab has a critical practical advantage. When your rest window ends and your clock resets, you are already at the truck, already in position, already ready to move. There is zero transition time. The moment the legal rest period is over, the engine starts and the miles begin again. A hotel adds 30 to 60 minutes of transition time, checking in, checking out, walking to the parking lot, inspecting the trailer. In an industry where time is money and delivery windows are contractually binding, that lost time has real financial consequences. The parking crisis. Here's something most people don't know. Truck parking in the United States is in a full-blown crisis. There are approximately 3.5 million commercial truck drivers in the U.S. And there are fewer than 40,000 designated truck parking spaces at public rest areas nationwide. The math doesn't work. Every night, thousands of truck drivers are legally required to stop, but have nowhere designated to park. They pull into highway shoulders, abandoned lots, and industrial areas just to comply with the law. This parking shortage is so severe that the U.S. Congress passed the Jason's Law Truck Parking Survey and Assessment Act specifically to study and address it. Named after a truck driver who was murdered while parked on a highway shoulder because no lot space was available. The parking crisis is not just an inconvenience. It is a documented public safety emergency. Standing guard all night. There is another reason truckers stay with their trucks that goes beyond law and logistics. Cargo theft. In the United States, cargo theft costs the freight industry an estimated $15 to $35 billion every year. Electronics, pharmaceuticals, food shipments, clothing, all high-value targets. The most common method of cargo theft is not a dramatic heist. It is opportunistic. An unlocked trailer in an unsecured lot. A truck left unattended for a few hours. A driver who checked into a hotel and left the cargo alone overnight. Trucking companies have insurance. But repeated theft incidents raise premiums, trigger audits, and in some cases result in lost contracts. Drivers who lose cargo face professional consequences. Sleeping in the cab is not just convenient. It is a security decision. A driver in the cab is a deterrent. The truck is never truly unattended. The legal framework around truck driver rest is extraordinarily detailed. Under current FMCSA hours of service rules, a driver using a sleeper berth can split their required rest period into two separate segments, as long as one segment is at least 7 consecutive hours in the sleeper berth, and the other is at least 2 consecutive hours. Neither period counts against the driver's 14-hour driving window. This sleeper berth provision exists specifically because the government recognizes the cab as a legitimate rest environment, legally equivalent to any other rest location. The ELD mandate, which became fully enforceable in 2019, means every second of this is tracked. Carriers can access driver logs remotely. The FMCSA can audit them during roadside inspections. Violations carry fines of up to $16,000 per offense for carriers, and can result in a driver's commercial license being suspended. The entire system, the hours, the rest, the logging, the parking, is one of the most heavily regulated labor environments in the United States. And the sleeper cab is the physical infrastructure that makes it all function. So what does this mean practically? If you order something online and it arrives on time, a truck driver almost certainly slept in a parking lot to make that happen. The overnight delivery economy runs on drivers who stop exactly when the law says stop, sleep exactly where they are, and move again the moment the clock resets. Next time you pass a rest stop full of idling trucks at midnight, that's not a random gathering. That's a legally mandated pause in a precisely timed national supply chain. Every one of those drivers has a clock running. Every one of them has a delivery window. And every one of them made a calculation. Stop here, rest here, move again at exactly the right moment. The cab isn't a compromise. It's the system working exactly as designed. You've driven past thousands of parked trucks without thinking twice. Now you know what's actually happening. Government clocks that can't be faked. Legal rest windows that can't be skipped. A parking crisis that Congress had to legislate. Cargo theft that costs billions. And a sleeper cab that is, legally, practically, and economically, the only place that makes sense. Nothing about the trucking industry is simple. And nothing about those quiet rows of parked trucks at 2 a.m. is accidental. That's the thing about systems we never question. They're always more complicated than they look. If this changed how you see something you pass every day, hit like. Share it with someone who thinks they know how overnight shipping works. And subscribe, because we're just getting started.